Shout out to our sponsor, Movement Watches.
Get multiple watches in one with bands you can switch out for a whole new look, because who needs to buy a whole new watch for every occasion?
Get 15% off your entire purchase at mvmtwatches.com/theknow. Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm John Reisinger.
Nintendo, you thought you had another month of keeping the Switch news to yourself, but you thought wrong.
Yeah, proving once again that no stone will be left unturned when it comes to Switch leaks. We've got good news and bad news about the console this week. For one, the Dark Souls franchise may be making its way to Nintendo's next console. That's kind of cool. Plus, there are new reports that Switch will bring GameCube titles to the Virtual Console for the first time.
Now, the bad news is that all the digital stuff you bought on the Wii U Virtual Console, well, it's not going to transfer over for free.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
These guys don't do cross-buy.
Yeah, Nintendo always staying true to their roots. But first, let's talk about the good news. There's a chance you can prepare to die on Switch, courtesy of Dark Souls, and over and over and over again.
Die a whole bunch.
Yeah, according to a new report from Let's Play Video Games, one of their sources claims From Software is considering bringing the entire Dark Souls trilogy to Switch with all DLC bundled in.
Now you can literally throw your entire console out the window when you rage quit.
Yeah.
That's going to get expensive. Development on a Switch port of Dark Souls 3 has been in the works for months by a very small team at From Software, who now has the game running on Switch at a level of performance they're happy with.
That's good.
So that didn't take too long. It's pretty good.
They're going to wait to see how the early sales of Switch look before they pull the trigger on giving it more resources, which is basically the same stance almost several other third parties are taking on the Switch. And you can't really blame them after the sales of the Wii U. In the last couple of weeks, both EA and Take-Two have said that while they're looking forward to partnering with Nintendo, ongoing support will depend on how the system sells.
But once again, this is another early positive sign that big franchises that skip the Wii U might be in for a revisit on the Switch, with the added bonus of being more portable than ever.
Yeah, and judging from another leak this morning, that ever-growing list of Switch games will also include GameCube titles.
Woo!
Yeah, Eurogamer reports that multiple sources have confirmed to them that GameCube games will be hitting the Virtual Console on a Nintendo platform for the first time.
Eurogamer claims that Switch's Virtual Console is getting rebuilt by the wizards at NERD, Nintendo European Research and Development, but I like just calling them nerds.
That's
It's
fine.
the same team that handled the NES Classic.
Cool.
And at the moment, they've already got 3 GameCube games up and running on the Switch. Super Mario Sunshine, which I've been hanging out to play again, so that's great. Luigi's Mansion, the classic, and Super Smash Bros. Melee.
I like that.
Also classic.
The last one should be exciting for competitive smashers who would be able to take their consoles anywhere to easily link up with other players. Next up on Nerd's docket is Animal Crossing.
In general, word of GameCube emulation is no doubt welcome news for the Nintendo faithful. According to reports, the Wii and Wii U hardware limitations caused some problems with emulation in the past.
Some problems.
Some problems. Well, let's downplay a little bit. However, Digital Foundry recently did a test on the NVIDIA Tegra X1 chipset used by Switch and found it to run old GameCube titles really well.
Yeah, but that's where all the good news stops. Because Eurogamer's report also featured a bit of that bad news that we mentioned earlier. From the sound of it, Nintendo is going to go full Nintendo on digital titles yet again, because Eurogamer sources claim your previous virtual game console purchase will require an upgrade fee if you want them to fully transfer over to Switch.
Never go full Nintendo.
Yeah.
Why is this so hard for them?
I don't know.
This was the same thing the company did to people who made the transition between the Wii and Wii U. If you wanted virtual console games you bought on the Wii to transfer over to the new system, you had to pay an upgrade fee on the Wii U.
They like to punish people.
So I guess it's like, we can't claim that we're surprised by it.
Yeah, so
But still.
unless you had both consoles at the same time, transfer your Wii stuff over and then pull them up in the emulated Wii app, you could do that. It was kind of confusing. You needed both consoles to do it, though.
But if you didn't want to jump through all those hoops and have both consoles together and do all that stuff, you could upgrade to the Wii U versions. To be fair, those upgrade fees were pretty small. It was $1 for NES titles you already owned, $1.50 for SNES titles, and $2 for Nintendo 64 titles. Not a large fee by any stretch, but if you own a few dozen games, and from Nintendo's enormous library, that's pretty easy. The cost of upgrading could add up pretty quick. You get 30 of those and you've got an NES Classic on your hands.
Yeah, there are naturally some mixed reactions to this. On the one hand, it's nice that they're transferring in some way and that you don't have to rebuy them all together, but on the other hand, Nintendo, come on. Nintendo knows you already own the games or not, so...
That's why you have a Nintendo account, right? It's the thing. So creating a new emulator for all the titles does require an investment, that's true, but at this point, Nintendo, like Sony and Microsoft, should consider that an investment into the health of their platform. Just some advice.
Should.
If you want people to Switch,
Ha-ha!
there it is. You need to put down the money and help people to make that as easy as possible. You need to give them as many reasons to get on your platform as you can.
Nah, nary your reasons. It should be noted that with the Wii to Wii U transition, Virtual Console titles did transfer over in some fashion, only with limited features that didn't give you access to the full experience. So yes, they were sort of playable, but if you wanted the full package, you had to put down a little bit of money, so it's not all bad, but it's certainly not all good either.
Now, while this whole Virtual Console snafu is business as usual for Nintendo, it is a little bit surprising. It shouldn't be, because it's what they do, but we still find ourselves
They
going,
slap us every
what?
time. We get surprised every time they do it.
Yeah, it's weird. So, I mean, from everything we've heard about the Switch over the last year, the company really considers this console as the sea change for their platform. They even reshuffled their organization earlier this year around that mindset. So this is weird to see.
And if they want to start being like Apple, they need to unify all these ecosystems together. Everything you own on the Virtual Console is playable and carries over to any Nintendo device you own. That's not a bonus feature for customers these days. It's an expectation. I said expectation really warm.
It's an expectation.
And I also said whatever word at the end of that sentence really weird.
What do you guys think of Nintendo Switch getting Dark Souls and the good and the bad of new Virtual Console leaks? And how are you supposed to pronounce expectation? Let us know in the comments.
Good lord! For future updates on upcoming Switch leaks, because come on, we know they're still coming, and for future updates on me having a stroke, like this video and subscribe to the Know.
Thanks to Movement Watches for sponsoring this update.
Movement watches are made with versatility in mind because you don't want to buy a new watch for every occasion.
Nope. If you're wearing brown shoes, instead you just switch out the metal band for a brown leather band and you're done. It's like a new watch.
I have a brown leather band and the black face one with a red dial, and it's very flashy and stylish.
This is my nice like silver face
Ooh, I like
mother
that
of
one.
pearl. I got a light blue band. I was like, I don't know what it's gonna match, but I don't care because I can just change it if I want to. And I've actually changed it out for a black one a time or two, which is really handy. So watches start at $95, but you can get 15% off your entire purchase when you go to mvmtwatches.com/thenow.